Okay, I was just reading some stuff over here. I don't know how long this live's going to be, and I doubt very seriously that many, if anyone, will even pop on here. But because my other video was so short earlier today, because I was having a bad day, I finally was able to shift my focus and mindset to a more positive one. So I ended up doing a meditation of sorts that helped me to come back to myself, I guess is a good way to put it. Um, the more positive side of me. Because, I mean, it just goes to show that, everybody has bad days. And um, the key to getting through a bad day is first, you have to try to evaluate, okay, why am I feeling this way? Are these actually my feelings that I'm feeling? Am I feeling someone close to me that's maybe having a bad day and the empathic side of me feels it? What's going on? Kind of thing. Why am I so angry or um whatever it was? So I thought I would bring out set this down for a second. I'm not trying to flash anybody. Excuse me. So I thought, okay, let's try this. Break out the tarot cards. Maybe do, a couple of readings or something and see if the readings can give me. Whoops. I'm knocking everything over here. Some insight into what could be possibly the cause. So that I can kind of, connect the dots, as it were. I've decided to use this deck. This is the Rider Waite Tarot deck, and this is a very special deck for me because um, my dear daughter Brooke in England got it for me. Gave it to me as a gift the last time she was here a couple years ago, and she most of the time is the young lady that's on here with me when I do my lives because most of the time I do my lives early in the day, early in the afternoon if I can. But she's 5 hours ahead of me, so I know it's like after 3 or 4 o'clock her time. So I know she's in bed. All I ask, as always, is since I do not have any moderators on here but myself, don't don't come with a bad attitude. I don't want trolls in my live. If this is not something you like to watch or it's boring or whatever, please don't tell me about it because I don't really want to know. But all I can say is blessed be. Um, Thanks for coming by at least to check out my videos. But maybe what you're looking for, you need to find elsewhere. I always tap my deck 3 times, shuffle it several times to wake up the deck. And I don't have a lap table right now, so I'm using this um, artsy craftsy thing that's got like markers and pens in it. It's for little kids, but anyway, let me focus here. And when I'm not sure what to ask, a lot of times I'll just say, what message do I have from spirits, my spirit family and friends, ancestors, and the like? What was going on with me earlier today? What was the cause for my disquiet? Um, and I guess I'll just start out with, I don't normally do it this way, but past, present, future. So there, my focus there is it could be a past, present, or future event that took place that is part of the cause of it. In my past, I got the Hermit. I know you can't see it very well, but I'm sitting kind of far away from the camera. Present, Tower. Future, Ace of Swords. Oh boy. Okay, I have this method that I do that uh is the result of many years of practice of just doing tarot readings on myself because I didn't I wanted to get the hang of it really well before I started reading for other people because I didn't want to upset anyone, I didn't want to insult anyone, I didn't want my focus to be scattered, I didn't want my nerves to be on edge because I've never read for anybody else. Well, one year at MarCon, I did exactly that. I came out of the tarot closet, as I call it, for the first time, meaning I read for other people. I had a tip jar next to me, and I, said donations are appreciated, but if somebody sat down and didn't have any money or whatever, they didn't have to pay anything, I would still do a reading for them because it was kind of like testing the waters, getting my feet wet kind of thing. And the method is I can look at a card without looking in the book, especially the Rider Waite deck, which I am the most closest bonded with. Not this particular version of it yet, but I was given my first Rider Waite tarot deck years ago when I lived in another city, and it was given by a dear friend as a gift. And I still have that deck. It may be age worn, it may be dirty around the edges of the deck, but I crocheted a nice pouch for it and everything. So, right now, immediately, let me move on now. I see this is my card in the deck. In any tarot deck that has a hermit card, that's my card. When I am doing a reading for someone, I still get a bit confused if I'm supposed to use my card because I'm doing the reading or if I'm supposed to use their card, or maybe put mine down first because I'm the one doing the reading and then put their card on top of mine, like this way or something. um the Hermit is telling me I need a break. uh there's a lot of stress going on in our lives right now because we are currently still waiting on um I don't know if it's paperwork or if it's a phone call or what exactly, letting us know that everything's good to go and we can, legally start bidding on houses and therefore start the process of moving shortly after. Um, but just as I feared, it's looking like that may not happen until sometime in spring, which, to be fair and honest, I have to say I would rather move in the spring than move in the fall or the winter. And right now, to me, it is still very much winter. Still the month of February. March isn't going to be much warmer. So I need a break. I need a vacation. In my past, I never had a lot of time to myself, which if I would have been able to have more time to myself during my times of the need for solitude, then I would have done probably much better. Um, Also, with this, I see a heavy burden. I'm trying to be the light, a light in a world full of darkness. My path is very long and very lonely and solitary sometimes. I've got my trusty staff and I've got my lantern to light my way, but because of my age and my not so great health right now, until I bring some of this weight down and start eating and drinking more healthier, I'm going to get my membership back at the Y again. And, that's going to be the exercise portion of things. And when I go to do a workout or whatever, I'm going to take snackables with me. Um, but when I would read this way without looking in the book, I was like right on every time. And everybody I read for that day was like, wow. They were just they're like, wow, that is so me. That's very good. I mean, I made not very much in tips, but I was grateful for every little bit that I did make. I don't remember what I ended up spending the money on because there was so little. But it certainly would have been better if I would have had more, better, bigger donations from people. Like if a couple of rich folks would have sat down and they've been so impressed with my reading, they, you know, hand me a $50 bill or something and go, here you go, sweetie, you did good. Thank you. Um, I'm getting a pain in my head right here, and I hate when that happens. Anyway, is there anything else I see with the hermit? I'm tired. Uh, Oftentimes, I drain my own energy. I deplete my own energy and spread myself too thin because I give so much of myself to so many that it's like I need to pick up the pieces and put me back together again. I do a lot for my family that still causes me great pain because it's great sacrifice, causes me mental pain, spiritual, emotional, and sometimes literally physical. But I need my space, and until I can find a way to have it so that I can have my times of solitude, it just makes life harder, and it makes it more difficult and more of a challenge to keep your own energies balanced. The tower being a present thing going on right now, yes, I immediately see the tension and stress over at my mom's right now because my brother is still staying over there with her. He's trying very hard, bless him, to get out and get in his own place. He's waiting to get the final word of this trailer he recently purchased in some other city. So he will be closer to us, but he will also be back here in Franklin County where he needs to be. So, because this is where all his doctors are, this is the place he's most familiar with. There's a lot of chaos, a lot of turmoil, a lot of strife, stress, anger, agitation, impatience. Um, like earlier today, I literally felt like I was one of these people being blasted out of the tower. And I'm like, what did I do? All I knew was I was having a bad day. And I went to the dentist, and all they did was use a pointy instrument to measure my teeth because they're fitting me for some partials. So I'm finally going to get me some partials, which will only be 3 teeth on this side and the upper part where I need them. Over here, there's only one tooth gone in the bottom, and unless the back tooth, the only back tooth I have back there now, because this one's not a back tooth, not to me, not here. I still have one back there. Until that gets to a point where the dentist decides it should be extracted, I probably won't be able to get partials on that side because I literally only need one tooth on that side and the bottom, and I don't think they do it that way. So we'll see. Future Ace of Swords. I will conquer. I will succeed. Um, find my inner strength. Don't be afraid to ask for help from the angels, which I do a lot, and also from my spirit family um, that's constantly guiding me. I have ancestors that I will be very happy when I can finally devote some serious time to having a spirit session with them to where I can talk with them, they can talk with me, I can hear them telepathically, and I can speak verbally to them, or some of the time do it in my head just to strengthen and develop my telepathy ability better, telepathic ability. So I guess that's about all I really get from that one. And that was just a 3 card. That was just a past, present, future. Now, I don't mind doing it in this fashion because it's kind of also my way of, I don't ask too personal of a question because anybody can literally watch this live stream. So you got to be careful what and selective what kind of questions you ask because you don't want to get too personal about your personal life with complete strangers because there's people out there that will use that against you every time. And the next thing you know, you've got an identity thief on your hands. And I just really don't want to go through that. I know that that's going on a lot right now for a lot of people. And my heart goes out to every one of them that have suffered from it and have had damage done to them in various different ways and so on, financially and people trying to buy cars in their name and making driver's licenses in their name, claiming to be them and they're not. Just it's horrible. So if any of you that see this video now or in the future would like a private reading from me, then leave me a comment below this video and let me know, okay, this is the question I have, this is my name, because you're going to have to give me some base information about yourself and what the question is that you want me to ask, that so the cards know, what focal point they need to be at so that they can give you the most accurate answers. Okay, this time I'm going to do this one's going to be harder. So, well, just I want to sit up a little straighter because this couch is doesn't have the best back support. And back here, I've already got a pillow and I'm sitting on a pillow and it's still not, quite as comfortable as I would like. I'm going to do what is called a 10-card Celtic cross, which you do have to have a certain size surface to do that. And this surface is really small, so I don't know how well I'll be able to do, but a 10-card spread is going to give you a more in-depth answer or give you more in-depth answers, but then you have to say, okay, could you give me more details on what the past, present, and future card was saying? So it's kind of taking the future card and basically adding to it and say, okay, well, this is coming through and I see this and, stuff like that. Because, and for those that want the private readings, I will definitely when I do the live, I will set it for private and I will only have the person who I'm doing the reading for listed as the one that can view that video. Nobody else, just me and that person. Okay. So, let's see. Do I want to ask a different question? Do I want to play off the one I just asked? Okay. No, can't really think of anything. So let me say, is there further information I need to know about related to that reading? Let's see. Or are there other messages I need? I don't have a lap desk and I don't have a table or anything I can use either. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, I wanted to make sure I counted correctly. Okay, now I'm not going to worry about putting down the hermit card because I know that I'm doing the reading for myself. So therefore, I don't feel the need to put down the hermit card. I know who it's for, me. First card, the Emperor. Second card, Three of Swords. Third card, Queen of Swords. Fourth card, the Lovers. Fifth card, Seven of Wands. Sixth card, Nine of Cups. See if I can get these cards a little bit closer together. So I got more room over here on the side. Seventh card, Temperance. Eighth card, Four of Pentacles. Ninth card, Five of Cups. 10th card, 10 of Pentacles. And usually I would write them down, but this time I'm not going to worry about it because I can always just watch this video again and go, oh yeah, that's right. That's the cards that came up, and write them down. First and foremost, the Emperor. Okay, now generally the Emperor means a father figure, a grandfather. It could be an ancestor of, a great 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 grandfather or something that goes way back. It could also be a magical father. If you follow a certain pantheon, like Norse or Greek or anything like that, like if it was Norse, for instance, then it would be Odin, the All Father for the Norse god pantheon. Um, Sitting on a throne. I get wise counsel. I get position of power. He's been doing this a while. He's very ancient. He can be stern. He can be downright spiteful and mean on occasion when he feels that somebody is not listening to him or understanding the advice he's trying to give or whatever. But he also has a gentle side. He has a fatherly side, a side that guides us in ways that we may not be able to find from other father figures that are very much alive, still on the planet here with us. Three of Swords usually means love troubles. It could be your own love troubles, or it could be someone else. It could be someone you're close to. It could be relatives. It could be an ex-boyfriend, an ex-girlfriend. For me right now, I see it as issues that I am still working through, that go all the way back into the past to the first guy that I really fell for and he broke my heart. He used me, and then when he was done with me, he basically just chucked me aside. He 4F'd me. And if you want to know what that means, you'll have to go back and watch a different video. And I know I cuss like terribly on here. I try not to. I've been trying to catch myself more often. But when you're really angry or you're really stressed, sometimes it just comes out and it feels better to cuss. It gives a power to the release of, you want this out of you. You don't want to feel this way anymore. Communication problems that me and my current partner have. When one partner doesn't feel like the other is being heard, and I don't feel like he's hearing me, he don't feel like I'm hearing him. Both of us feel like we're the only one in the relationship, which hopefully we've moved past that and we're doing better. But there's still a lot of work. We both have been hurt by many others, and that makes it difficult to have a successful relationship because you're afraid it's going to happen again. That is certainly one of my major issues. Queen of Swords. Okay, so the Emperor is the main one speaking. This is what crosses me. Love troubles, partnership troubles. Queen of Swords is above me. This could be a higher power. This could be a goddess of a certain pantheon that is trying to let me know that she is here for me. I just need to learn to be silent and listen. Um, that I have great power, I have great knowledge and wisdom. I have been through a lot, but I'm not alone. Um, the Lover's card, which is something beneath me. First thing that pops into mind is the anxiousness of my daughter Brooke coming from England here soon, and her and my son finally being able to see each other and, have a few visits and stuff together where they can be face to face. And, so I just feel it's not a negative card at all. It's just more like an anxiousness. She's anxious to come back and see everybody. And she's certainly, I'm sure, anxious to see Michael as he is to see her. Next is Seven of Wands. Now, this is something, I believe it's meant to be something on its way out. On its way in, or wait, is it this one is on its way out? This is on its way in, or this is on its way in, this is on its way out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's say, okay, this is what I'm going through right now. It's not, in part, it is a battle with others, my family, the bad day today at the dentist office, and it's not because of anything they did. I just was in a bad place and I really didn't want to go. They used that pointy object to measure my teeth. I was death gripping the chair. I mean, and it seriously tensed me up and it just stressed me out. And it took me a while to get back in a better mood. But what the Seven of Wands means is it's a single person standing on a hill with a staff fighting six others. But because they're above the six others, they have the advantage point. Yay, good for me. Nine of Cups, I would say this is on its way out. The Nine of Cups is something on its way in. And a Nine of Cups is a positive card. It has a figure sitting on a chair or something, and there's 9 cups behind them, and they're all upright. They don't have any gifts or anything like that in them, but it's a very happy, a very positive card. I believe the figure is smiling. Yeah. This could be a financial gain. I am trying to get my new business started, the resin pieces. If any of you have seen my 8-minute video, which is the only one that I've been able to put on here so far, where I'm literally showing all of my pieces. Now, I've been meaning to do a future video of going down in the basement of our building here, because I have a couple of long tables down there that will allow me to set up more of my pieces together. I have a greater amount of surface to put pieces on, and then I have a little hexagonal table next to the long table that I can also set some small pieces on. And then I will have my Canon recording, which it only does a 30-minute recording, and then it'll shut itself off, mostly to cool down. So what I usually try to do there is I try to let it stay off for 30 minutes, then turn it back on again. And I'm also going to have my video camera taping. So those are batteries on both of those cameras. I still need to make sure are fully charged and everything before I can do that. I do have a more recent video on my phone that I consider the companion video to the 801 8-minute 1-second one, where I called it, the name of my store is Lady Belpania's Store of Universality, I think, or something like that. So I'm going to try to have a variety of things and versatility and stuff like that. But right now, because I can only buy small amounts of like molds and resin kits and stuff like that, I can only crank out so many at any one time, so many a month. But I'm trying to keep my costs down because I don't have a lot of money to invest and so on. So temperance is, I'm seeking balance. I am hopefully getting closer to that balance. by doing a more positive live, as opposed to the one earlier where I was only on for a handful of minutes, and that was when I was having the bad day. Um, it's a spiritual balance for me as well. Feeling more grounded in the earth, keeping my emotions in check, like, helping myself to get into a more positive mindset, which I did. Took me a couple of hours, but meditation, it works. It really does. And it was a money drawing meditation, which I need all the money I can possibly manifest right now so that I can invest it in my new company or new store. I can get more pieces because I'm not just going to be having resin pieces. I will have a variety of resin pieces, yes, but I will get other stuff. Like there will be times when I'll have like witchy kits, and I'll have a whole set of like the little crystal bits in the little tiny jars for sale and that kind of thing. Four of Pentacles is somebody that tends to be a miser. They have money, but they don't like to spend it. I see that as my brother right now. Um, because it's the card's also in the family position. It's the second card of the four on the side. He is impatient. He wants to get moved into his trailer, understandably so. And I certainly hope for my brother's sake that he does get into it soon, so that he can be happier. He can, the stress levels at mom's will drop. Mom and Jim will have their house back again, and I can go back to going over there on a more consistent basis, which mom has the table that I used in the 8-minute video is ideal for being able to put a lot of pieces on at one time. I have to put a hold on the jewelry right now though, because until I can get me a really good kit that have really good links and different things, because right now I'm having trouble with the jewelry falling apart. So I may have to explore another avenue of how to make the pieces more secure before I actually put them up for sale, because I'm not going to sell something that's a shoddy product. I know I'm not totally focused on the cards, but bear with me. Five of Cups. Okay. Now, the Five of Cups is, for me, I see discouragement, hopelessness, feeling like I'm not doing enough, feeling like I'm not pushing myself hard enough and being stern enough on myself, until I start going to the Y consistently on a weekly basis or however often I can afford to do it, meaning keeping gas in the car and stuff like that. But I don't see the two upright, because it shows a figure in a cloak. They got their head down. They see three spilled chalices in front of them. There's a bridge. There's water. There's land. There's a building. So they're feeling like down and sad, and they don't see the two good things behind them, the two upright cups that are, to me, in this particular reading, signify help is on the way, have faith, don't give up. It's okay to have a bad day. We all do. Um, and lastly, 10 of Pentacles, which shows a couple, and it shows animals, and it shows a grandpa type figure, buildings. And this, I feel like, is meaning for me right now that we will soon get the whatever it is we're waiting on so that we can start bidding on houses. So this symbolizes the move. It's just, and because in the card itself, you can see that it's obviously in the middle of summer. Otherwise, they would be dressed in heavier garb. There's little kids playing with two little dogs, and it's a beautiful card. It's celebration. It's unification. It's going to be three of us living in the same house together, and we're going to have 8 cats. Oh, please, God is fast, help us. Because we're going to have literally 4 boys, 4 girls, all of them fixed, thank God and Goddess. But my fear is, are they going to get along? How long is it going to take for them to adjust? Because we're basically just going to be throwing them together, and they're going to be like, what the heck? What's going on? So yeah, I would say this reading was definitely fitting. It's kind of a combination of, stuff going on right now, stuff in the past, stuff in the future, stuff in the present. The overall message being everybody has their ups and downs, everybody has good days and bad days, but always remember that better days are coming, right? You just got to hang in there and you got to find ways to motivate yourself to get into a different mindset. And I did that today. I was able to take some time out for a meditation, and it helped me a lot to, get back to my more positive, cheery self that I try to be most days that I'm on here doing a live. Now, there is an extended 10 card Celtic Cross spread that has 15 cards. I'm not going to do a 15 card on this little box because the surface area is not big enough. But what the 15 card one does is you have 5 additional cards, and it goes by the elements. So you get a message from each element. Earth, air, fire, goes earth, air, fire, water, spiritual transformation. If you do everything that the 4 elements are trying to guide you to do, then you will achieve that spiritual transformation. So you will get out of that negative mindset. You will get out of feeling helpless and hopeless and like useless, like you're not doing enough and this and that. So it's a lot to wrap your brain around. And right now, I am going to stick with, if you just want a daily 1 card message, but you also want that private, I will definitely do that for any of you that ask of me to do it. But the cheapest that I can go as far as money, because I definitely, I need to make a profit. I want to make this part of my career and business at some point, doing tarot readings for people. So for now, I'm charging $20. If you just do a 3 card spread, because it's only 3 cards, which don't take that long to explain. I would probably only charge $3 for just a 1 card daily. I would only charge $1 for now. That could increase as time goes on, but my main focus right now, it says my kitty cat Kalika, is getting out there and getting noticed. Okay, let me get that on the floor without scaring her and making her scratch me. But the $20 will mostly be for the 10 card spread, which is just the standard Celtic Cross. If you want the 15, however, that's going to be $25 because $1 additional for each of the 5 additional cards. I think that's more than fair. I don't do natal charts or anything or birth charts right now. Kalika, will you please lay down? But hopefully in the future I will. Will you lay down, please? I will, hopefully be able to do that. Lay down for some people. My cat's getting on my nerves because, she suddenly decides she wants on mommy's lap. This is my baby girl. She is the strongest, bonded with me. My other girl, Carmela, she's okay. She's not as close to me, I don't think, as me and Kalika here. But, the backstory behind Kalika is she is a reincarnation of a tortoiseshell I had several years ago when I was living in Marysville that one day just didn't come home. And I found out years later what her fate was. And it affirmed my fears of somebody in the neighborhood they didn't like cats or something. I don't know exactly, but they would put traps out. They would put like cat traps out, cages or whatever, put food in it, and then the door would slam shut behind them. Or I'm not sure exactly how she trapped them, but she would trap them and then she would kill them and then she would eat them. She would skin them just like anybody would skin a turkey or a chicken or a rabbit. And I was horrified. I was absolutely horrified that was her end. So her soul found her way back to me, and she reincarnated in another tortoiseshell body with an eternal tear on the outside of the corner of her left eye. And I know it's her, because when she was in that former life that I had her before this one, I called her Princess. Well, one of the names that I was playing around with, because she was female and she was a tortoiseshell, but because she's a tortoiseshell, she is considered a certain type of calico cat, a more common one, because her mix of colors range from orange to black to white to tan. She's got those pretty green eyes, and that's typical of a lot of cats. And she's got that cute pink nose, and her she's got little black dots on her nose. That's part of her, how she was made. And so they're like birthmarks or what, I don't know what you want to call them, but this is where she spends a lot of her time throughout the day and sometimes the evening. She is happiest when she's on mommy's lap. But I believe she grew the outer tear and made sure that would be very visible to me, as a sign that she made her way back to me. Because when she was Princess, I did comment to her many times that, and yes, she is my witch's familiar, I'm pretty sure. Princess always knew when I was doing magic. At the time, I didn't even so much as have a table to use as an altar, or the desktop, a desk of some kind, or whatever. I didn't get that until, I don't know, probably at least several years later. And this was somewhere around the time when I believe when I was living there alone. My husband at the time had left me, and he basically abandoned me in the trailer and said, you're on your own. And thought that he did such a great thing by leaving me the title to the trailer, which did me no good because I couldn't afford to live there anymore. All my utilities had been shut off. It was the middle of winter at one point, and I was trying not to freeze to death under 4 blankets every night because I had no heat. But anyway, long story short, she loved it when I did magic. So I had to use the floor to set up my magic items, right? And the floor had carpeting, so I had to be extremely careful that a candle didn't fall over and catch something on fire, which luckily it never did. Nothing like that ever happened because I was careful, but it still kind of made me uncomfortable. And it's like, maybe I should do this in the kitchen, because at least in the kitchen, it was a linoleum floor. So, if candle falls over, it's less likely to catch something on fire. But if it's on carpet, yeah, not a good thing. So she would lay on my lap a lot back then. One of her favorite poses is crossing her paws on the front of her like this. And I always called her Miss Regal Paws, which was meant in an affectionate manner, because I loved her, and she was fully grown when I had her as Princess. And I said, you know what, sweetie, I don't know how much time we have together before your time comes and you're gone, but I really wish I could have watched you grow up. I really wish I could have gotten you as a kitten. And sure enough, years later, here she is. Got her as a baby after she was weaned from her mother, 6 weeks old, common, the mother of her and her sister, half-sister Carmela, was Mama Kitty, that I had taken over to my mom's one day, that Chris had found walking around out in front of our property. And he brought the poor little thing in, and she was just a baby. She was like maybe that big, like she had just been thrown out, but she was still very young. She was in good health and everything. But when I took her to my mom, because my mom had lost her dog and cat that she had at the time, and she was absolutely devastated from their loss, and she was missing, having a pet. So when Mama Kitty came along, we had already had 2 cats, and I didn't want to, test fate by having 3. Or more, because I didn't know how our landlord at the time was going to react to such a thing. It could have been a positive reaction, or it could have been a negative one. We were lucky. It was a positive. I had every good intention, but I warned Mom. I said, Mom, we found her in the wild. She was a feral cat on the streets. Don't let her outside. If you don't want to be overrun with a bunch of baby kittens and her constantly getting out and getting pregnant, don't let her outside. If somebody's getting ready to go outside, even if you have to pick her up and hold on to her long enough for them to get outside, do so. Or if you have to shut her in the bathroom until they're done running in and out, do that. Or shut her in your bedroom, or one of the rooms that nobody was using at the time. And I thought it would brighten her spirit and lift her mood by taking a cat to her. Well, I couldn't have been more wrong. She kept her, but she got out and she got pregnant, and then it became an endless line of one litter after another, after another, after another. If I remember correctly, Mama Kitty had 2, I think 3 at the most that I recall, litters. 3? Yeah, Chris just said 3. So Carmela and Kalika, were they the first or second? I can't remember.
Kalika came from the first, Carmela from the second, Stubby's from the third.
Okay, so he's right. Kalika was the first litter, Carmela was the second litter, and my mom's cat Stubby that she has right now was third litter. Then Mama Kitty just disappeared one day and we never saw her again. I hope she's okay. I hope she had a long, happy life. But I vowed never to take a pet to my mom again after that, because I didn't want to run the risk that she would be upset with me again, even though I didn't have any ill intent. I had only good intentions, and I thought it would make her happy if she had a cat. Now, why did she call her cat Stubby? Well, Stubby was born with one of her hind feet missing. So she's only got 3 complete feet, but bless her, she gets along fine without the third or the fourth. She can jump up on stuff, jump down on stuff. She's fine. She's healthy to the point, a fair point. But she is not fixed, and Mom will not get her fixed. And I really wish that she would, because when she goes into heat, Mom gets agitated with her. Jim gets agitated with her. Carl gets agitated with her. I try to be more understanding, but after a while, the constant yowling that they do because they're wanting to mate, it can get on your nerves for sure. Another thing I would like to do while I'm on here, since I wasn't able to do a live today where my daughter Brooke was able to be present, because she's trying to run her shop and everything. I get that totally. I'll go ahead and bring this up here though, because that way, okay, I think I have to turn this thing back on. Yep. I have currently been reading a book on here that's on my Fire tablet, The Dark Goddess. It's a Dark Goddess book that I got. I paid for and downloaded it onto my Kindle here not too long ago, and I've been reading out of it on my lives because Brooke really likes it. And for anyone else that maybe is curious about some of the dark goddesses and how they work, and the most proper, safest ways to approach them, as opposed to no, you don't want to do that to approach them, because then you're going to get in trouble. They're gonna smite you or something, make your life a living HE 2 toothpicks. I'm just waiting for this to start up, and there we go. 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 everything, which usually takes a few minutes. But I've been trying to get into the habit of, okay, good. That was fairly quick. I'm going to start carrying it around in one of the pouches I made for it or make a new one. Dark Goddess Craft. Okay, that's why I couldn't find it. I was looking for the Dark Goddess earlier. I found a bunch of Dark Goddess books, but it wasn't the one that I was looking for. Okay, come on, library. Come on. There we go. Because I've only got 18% of it read. Excuse me. No, I don't want to remove it. Excuse me. Are you gonna... No, I don't want to hide it. I don't want to remove it. Hello? I don't know why it's not. I don't know if I'm not holding it down long enough or what. Because for some reason it's not wanting to read it. Come on, give me my Dark Goddess Craft. Darn it. There we go. Finally. Hopefully. I stopped at chapter 4, so I don't know how much of it I will actually read on here, but sometimes I'll try to read through a whole chapter. Other times I'll read through it in parts. So make sure that you get on here the next 3 to 5 days at least, because it may literally take me that long just to get through chapter 4. Because some of the chapters are going to be longer than others. Okay. The process of transformation. Although the term Dark Goddess is a modern one, the common thread between the gods we give this label to remains the same. They are beings who instigate and navigate us through change. They use destruction as a catalyst. They are liminal deities and the teachers of hard truths. Whether they are helping us change something about ourselves or leading us through the greatest process of change, death. These deities all rule over transformation of some kind. And in order to truly understand them, we must understand the process of transformation itself. As painful as it is to have some things in our lives torn down, sometimes it really is for our own good. It's human nature to hold on to things for too long, to cling to the things we know, even if they are poisonous to our very being. For the most part, we don't like change. I'm one of them. And the unknown terrifies us because there are no guarantees. When we meet dark and dangerous gods, there are no guarantees who we will be at the end of our journey through the dark. Oops, too far. Quite a lot of people find paganism out of a desire to create real and meaningful change in their lives. The idea, casting spells, connecting to powerful gods, and reshaping our lives into something better than it is can be a tantalizing thought. If I do just the right spell, say just the right chant, I can land the job of my dreams, find love, and have a happy and content life. Magic can do that. The gods can do that. But like any genie worth his salt, they will remind you that wishing for things, and more importantly, manifesting them, isn't as simple as you'd like it to be. What we want is the Emerald Lagasse approach to magic. Bam! And you got instant change. Don't work that way. But it doesn't work that way. There is always a price. And we don't like the idea of magic or working with the gods having a price. But trust me, it does. Real magic, real devotion, and dedication to deity has a cost, and it's completely worth paying. When I am discussing my work with the Dark Goddess, one of the questions I am often asked is how exactly to go about causing life-changing transformation without causing any harm. The answer is simple and completely not what the person wants to hear. It's impossible because the concept of harm none doesn't work. When we are baby pagans, we buy into the idea that transformation can be as easy as burning a candle and calling on the right kind of God that we find off a list of correspondences on the internet. Mm-mm. Change is a beautiful, pain-free process, like a caterpillar morphing into a beautiful butterfly. Love and light, harm ye none. These are all the lies those new to paganism are fed, and the old hats fall victim to. So, for the record, change sucks. It hurts, it's painful, and worst of all, there are no guarantees. Where you will end up when you start down the path of true change, spiritual or otherwise, in your life. In paganism at large, we get caught up in the idea of the reed, in the idea that to be a witch, you have to work in a love and light paradigm. But it doesn't work. It isn't realistic. And not subscribing to these ideas doesn't make you immoral or a bad person. There are many words I use to describe myself. I am a pagan. I'm a polytheist and see the gods as very real beings with personalities and individual likes and dislikes. I am a priestess. I am dedicated to the Morrigan, and my devotion to her influences and drives much of my work and spiritual practice. And I am a witch. Much of my work and but I don't buy into the reed. Don't get me wrong, it's a pretty thought, but just by living and breathing, we affect the rest of the world. Sometimes in a good, creative way, and sometimes in a destructive way. We destroy things to fuel our continued existence on a myriad of levels. The nature that pagans worship is brutal and deadly at times. Lions eat zebras, and I have no problem seeing this brutal truth, as being balanced and having a kind of beauty. Nothing comes for free, especially in magic. And when we get caught up in the idea that we can do magic without a cost, create change without consequences, we are either left wondering why our magic didn't work or why our world is suddenly turning into SHIT. By cost, I mean that deep and powerful magic, or deep and powerful transformation, requires work. You don't have to offer a grand sacrifice or your firstborn child to the gods, but the things you want to bring into your life may cost you some tears and some honest soul searching. Carpal tunnel's bothering me again. Had to switch hands. Doing the work is a kind of offering to the gods. Scholar and author Morgan Daimler explains, there is risk with all powerful magic. And the bigger and more bad ass, the better the chance that someone's going to get hurt during the process. And that means the person doing it, and that means the people affected by it. When you're trying to shift years worth of entropy and BS out of your life, you're going to bleed in the process, and you're going to spill blood as well. Some healing can't begin without first opening wounds, and some freedom can't be gained without first cutting away that which holds us back, even if it means cutting out a part of ourselves we don't want to let go of. You can't uproot a tree and replant it without breaking the roots and letting the sap run, after all. If you seek to do such a thing without harm, you have failed before you've begun. Dark deities will help you through the process of change. They will give you exactly what you asked for, but at the same time, they expect you to earn it. They will sit there tapping their feet, arms folded over, until you get the point. And that requires a certain amount of trust in the deity. Many people who experience this will chalk it up to the deity being spiteful or dangerous. But they are there to help you work through your darkest fears, your biggest challenges. They are like drill sergeants preparing you for war, for the hard realities of life. Someone threw up in here. They are on your side, but they won't do the work for you. Perhaps one of the best descriptions I have come across to describe what exactly change is comes from a workshop taught by Kirk White at Harvest Gathering several years ago. He was describing how his life changed as he worked through the different levels of initiation within a particular magical tradition.
Come on, baby. You've been throwing up all day.
At one point, he commented, "Real change feels like death,"
Come here.
and it's true. At its core, change is a process of destroying in order to move forward or recreate ourselves or a part of our life. By its very nature, it demands that part of us die or be destroyed to accomplish this. It is a process no more peaceful than a construction crew taking a wrecking ball to an old building to clear the way for a new one is. When governments change, it is often through revolution, warfare, and violence. When we go through the process of change, at the innermost parts of our being, it is no less violent or chaotic. Nothing in this universe can be created without destroying something in its stead and breaking down the things that dwell at the core of our being, the things that weigh our spirits down, that can be the hardest to let go of, the hardest to destroy, is not easy, nor should it be, nor does it happen all at once. The problem most of us encounter is that the world around us doesn't really want us to change, and as a consequence, we really don't know how to deal very well with change when it does occur or become a necessity. Our culture encourages stability. Change is viewed as a weakness, as a mark of instability and failure. As a child, you most likely were asked what you wanted to be when you grew up. Maybe it was a firefighter, teacher, or a musician. Whatever the answer you gave, there was a certain expectation that you would spend your childhood growing, changing, dreaming, and figuring yourself out. We'll go through angsty teenage years, changing and evolving both physically and mentally, but then at a certain point, we are supposed to have figured it all out. That process of change and becoming, we are told, is supposed to stop. Become the firefighter or teacher, become stable and consistent, have the steady job or career, the spouse, the 2.5 children, pay the bills, live a life of quiet repetition. And once we reach that goal, we are supposed to stay there. Our time for change and evolution reached its conclusion in our youth. Yet life isn't stagnant no matter how much we want it to be. We are constantly changing and growing throughout life. In fact, the entire point of living is to grow and change. And that requires us to accept that there will be things about ourselves, people, and ideas along the way that we will have to let go of. There is no such thing as happily ever after because we are constantly growing and changing. More than likely, who you were 5 years ago is not the same person you are now, nor will you be the same 5 years in the future. The changes aren't always dramatic, but they are there nonetheless. The more we understand about the process of change, the better equipped we are to journey into the realms of these gods. No matter the situation, whether a physical change or an inner one, in general, the steps we take toward transformation are the same. It is a journey that we can find models for in some familiar places. We will be looking at four models in particular, although they are certainly not the only ones that exist. Each model looks at the same problem, how humans deal with change, but tackle and describe the process through different lenses. Elizabeth Kubler Ross, a psychiatrist, looks at the process through the lens of the medical profession. Friedrich Nietzsche's Metamorphosis of the Spirit show us change through the viewpoint of philosophy. Joseph Campbell's Hero Journey brings us the perspective of the mythologist. Finally, the concept of the descent brings us back to the actual myths themselves. Each describes the same process in different ways, through different filters, to give us a better understanding of transformation. One is not necessarily better than the other, but each describes a universal truth about the process of change. Kubler Ross model of grief. If real change does, in fact, feel like death, then it only makes sense to look at the stages of grief in our journey to understand change. The 5 stages of grief were first introduced by Swiss psychiatrist Elizabeth Kubler Ross in her book On Death and Dying, based on her work with terminally ill patients. Although initially used in reference to her patient's own physical death, Kubler Ross later expanded this model to include other forms of loss, such as the death of a loved one, chronic illness, losing a job, ending a relationship, and dealing with drug addiction. Kubler Ross's stages describe the process we undergo when we are integrating new ideas or information into our reality. When those ideas conflict with our previous beliefs, it describes how we come to grips with change and ultimately accept and integrate it into our lives. She notes that some people will experience a roller coaster of going back and forth through the different stages, and that not everyone experiencing grief of any kind will necessarily experience all 5 emotional stages. First and foremost, denial. This is the very first reaction to grief or loss. In this stage, individuals hold on to the hope that a diagnosis or fundamental issue is a mistake or somehow not true. In the case of a disease, the patient believes the test results are somehow false. A child dealing with the separation of his or her parents believes they will get remarried, and in an unhealthy relationship, we might choose to ignore certain behaviors. There are endless ways we try to convince ourselves that things we are uncomfortable with don't exist. Now I gotta switch again. Now this one's gone numb. Anger is the second stage. In this stage, the individual accepts that denial cannot continue. Frustration and anger may be directed at others, especially caregivers or individuals who are in close proximity to the individual. The individual asks questions such as, "How could this happen to me?" and "Why me?" and states that it's not fair. Third stage, bargaining. In this stage, the individual hopes the situation at hand is avoidable or alterable in some way. This could be by initiating a lifestyle change for an extended life or making compromises in situations not involving physical illness. Okay, anger, bargaining. Depression, fourth stage. In this stage, the individual becomes reclusive, silent, and withdrawn. They may refuse to see visitors or interact with people, and they may spend the majority of their time mourning or in a sullen state. They question the point of going on with everyday activities. I'm going to die soon, so what's the point? Why bother with anything? Individuals may also burden themselves with guilt and regrets in regard to the situation. Fifth and final stage, acceptance. In the final stage, the individual embraces the reality or inevitability of the situation or tragic event. Those facing illness and their own mortality enter a retrospective and calmer emotional state. This doesn't necessarily equate to happiness, but rather acceptance of the situation and being able to react to it. In leaving a relationship, you might make plans for the future, or you may accept the passing of a loved one or make preparations for their passing. Nietzsche's Metamorphosis of the Spirit. In Thus Spoken Zarathustra, Zarathustra, Friedrich Nietzsche offers us another model for transformation. While his analogy is influenced by his contempt with some aspects of Christianity, here, his description of the process of transformation holds true to us this day. Nietzsche writes of three metamorphoses of the spirit, I tell you, how the spirit becomes a camel, and the camel a lion, and the lion finally a child. The analogy begins with the strong spirit whom he imagines in the guise of a camel. The camel, being very strong, takes pride in the fact that it can carry a great deal of weight. And so the camel bends and loads himself with weight, even to the point of exhaustion. The camel bears the weight of its tasks, but eventually finds its work unfulfilling and meaningless, and finds himself weighed down in a spiritual desert, no longer wishing to bear the weight and no longer finding meaning in the values placed on itself. It transforms into a lion, a spirit that fights against false values in order to find his own place and freedom. Nietzsche calls the lion the no-saying spirit. Its role is to deny and make room for new things. In the spiritual desert, the lion battles the dragon, thou shalt, representing established values and religion. After confronting the dragon, the lion transforms into a child. As the child, the spirit can experience the world anew, live for the moment, and forget the limitations of the past. The child can see things with new eyes, live for itself, and create a new path. So, what does that mean for us today? Nietzsche's analogy has many layers. How many times have we acted as the camel? When have we taken up tasks and burdened ourselves with things that we should not have taken on? Hi. Or taken up tasks that were unfulfilling to us because others have told us we should find them meaningful. Hi again. Eventually, when we are dissatisfied enough with the situation, we rebel against the things that hold us back. We become the lion and begin living for ourselves. But we must battle the obstacles that block our path. When we have battled our monsters in our spiritual desert, we can transform into the child, start on a new path, and see things in a new way. The hero's journey. We find a similar pattern for change in Joseph Campbell's study of comparative mythology in his The Hero with a Thousand Faces. Campbell proposes that throughout world mythology there is a monomyth, a cycle that is repeated in the adventures and journeys of heroes universally within mythology. The journey of the hero through the underworld is one found in all cultures, in one form or another, and perhaps it has remained so prevalent in our imaginations because the process the hero undergoes is one that we also embark on within ourselves. Campbell breaks down the hero's journey into three parts: departure, initiation, and return. In the departure stage, the hero experiences a call to adventure, and the hero then resists the call, usually out of fear or doubt. In some cases, another character expresses the danger the hero will face. Afterward, the hero meets a mentor, usually one that is magical in some way or has special knowledge. With the aid of the mentor, the hero is able to cross the threshold of the underworld and enter the next stage of initiation. Initiation is where the process of change occurs. As the hero travels through the underworld, he faces challenges and sometimes temptations until he is faced with the final ordeal. Usually, the hero gains a treasure or special item from facing this ordeal. In the final stage of return, the hero must experience a resurrection. This can be surviving a battle or test that would be fatal to anyone else, or coming close to death and surviving before being able to return to the normal world. The hero returns to the ordinary realm with new knowledge and treasures he has claimed from the underworld. And I'm going to, I guess, stop there simply because, here, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I should just do this and just plug it in before I go to bed tonight so that I don't have to worry about shutting it off and then it draining, shutting it off and then having to find my way back into the book like I had such an issue with here a few minutes ago. But part of my lips, they're chapped. We still have a lot of, it's dry heat, dry and hot in this upstairs apartment. But I overwork my voice. I overuse it, and I certainly don't mean to sometimes. And I speak of the times when it agitates people, and I don't mean it to. But, it's like I'm not perfect. I have bad days. I have good days. I overwork my voice because I have so much to say. I just try to help others by sharing my life experiences with them in the hopes that it will inspire them in some positive way to start on their own journey and have the confidence, faith, belief, and trust that they will succeed and they will come out okay. Change is never easy, but it's necessary if you don't want life to become stagnant, uneventful. You feel like you're stuck in this circular tower made of stone, and you're just going to stay there till you die. I think I'm going to stop this live for now because I need to give my voice a rest, for one, and I also want to give anybody that watches this video in the future, my dear daughter Brooke included, I want to give them time to absorb how far I read into that chapter before I said, okay, my voice is breaking. I need to quit for now. Gives your brain, when you segment it, it gives your brain a better chance of figuring it out. Do an experiment of your own. Sit down with a notebook, paper, and a pen and write down, what is my journey? Where am I in my life right now? Where do I want to be? What have I learned from my past mistakes? And the list goes on and on. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for coming. Go if you must. See you next live. Blessed be. And good night and bye for now.